Hi, I'm Gail.
And hi, I'm Catherine. Welcome to Women Over 70, Aging Reimagined, our award-winning weekly podcast. Visit womenover70.com to learn how you may become involved, join Aging Reimagined Circle, and enjoy free participation in our online monthly programs.
Before we start our interview today, I want to tell you about a product I'm really loving. As skin ages, it becomes more fragile and bruises more easily, especially on the back of hands and forearms. I'm loving Skin Tensa Bruise Cream, developed by Harvard-trained dermatologists specifically for mature skin. It gently moisturizes and helps bruises fade faster. Find it at skintensive.com, and for 25% off, use the code WO70. And today we're excited to have in the studio Maria Cristina Torres. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Gail. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Maria Cristina is Mexican born and formerly a physician with 3 decades of experience in pharmaceutical-oriented medicine. She now dedicates herself to finding solutions for chronic conditions, assisting individuals in reclaiming their health through alternative methods. Her primary focus is empowering women to navigate midlife transitions without relying on conventional medications. She brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to her practice, aiming to offer personalized care and guidance to those seeking natural solutions for their health concerns. Dr. Maria is committed to educating her patients and empowering them to take control of their well-being through holistic approaches and alternative medicine. So, Maria Cristina, thank you so much, and welcome to Women Over 70, Aging Reimagined. And let's start talking about what brought about your interest in and then subsequent change to providing alternative methods of medicine.
Well, thank you for having me, Gail and Catherine. I'm really, really pleased to be here. And well, it's a very interesting question that I receive quite often. So for me, the realization that even though I was participating in the development of new drugs and new technologies for this a number of diseases, I realized that the epidemics of chronic diseases, cancer, and many other diseases were in the race. So actually, I thought, well, we're spending all this money and all this new drugs and new technologies. But by the time people need those technologies, sometimes already a little too late. So I wanted to be a little bit more proactive, and I wanted to go back to medicine in front of the patient, but I didn't know how. But I found my way to go into medicine again, but from a completely different approach. It's not against what Western medicine is doing, which is great. It's in addition to it. And I wanted to be more in this, what I call the environment of health, like promoting health and supporting people to stay healthy longer.
Mm-hmm. Did you move to this after you came to the United States? Or
correct?
Yeah.
Yes, that was when I had to decide whether I will go and pursue my license and all paperwork to keep working mainstream medicine or take my other alternative path. And that's what I decided.
And how did you go about learning about the holistic approaches in alternative medicine?
Well, I started years before I actually took the leap. I started with yoga and meditation and all those things. And I was looking for platform that will allow me to have a more structured way in the holistic world. So I learned about Chinese medicine and the holistic approach and almost philosophical approach that it has with a curriculum. So that's how I landed in the Chinese medicine realm. And from there, well, I've been adding more and more skills. But yes, Chinese medicine offered me this structured and very ancient approach to medicine.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about your acupuncture practice.
Yes, thank you. Yes, well, acupuncture is the regulated part of all these practices that I consider alternative medicine, and it's a brick and mortar practice. It's something that I never thought I was going to practice because acupuncture is one technique that is extremely useful and amazing to cover a number of ailments. And then, well, for me, this kind of is a platform to start building from there, right? So traditional Chinese medicine involves acupuncture, Chinese herbs, tuina, lifestyle recommendations, and other things. So, but acupuncture is I would say, the regulated part of it.
You said when you started that you don't entirely move away from traditional medicine, but you rather combine the two, alternative. Is that correct? Did I understand you correctly?
I understand the Western side of medicine. I understand pharmaceuticals, but I do not prescribe or use pharmaceuticals with my patients.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody needs medical attention from that area, I refer to people who are qualified and licensed and everything. So that's what I do. I do not practice Western pharmaceutical medicine anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say more about why you would recommend that women choose alternative over pharmaceutical?
Well, first of all, the first thing I recommend everybody is to have their primary care physician and have their annual checkups and stick with their medical treatment first, and add some alternative methods at the side. When I recommend to start with alternative medicine is for common ailments that the medical field doesn't get the grasp or they don't consider even treatable. For instance, long-term chronic conditions like, let's say, digestive issues that are consistent, and the doctors, they cannot pinpoint what it is, and they might prescribe some medication to alleviate, but it's not, they are not ready to use the heavy medicine, right? So at that point, I love to interact with patients and start helping them to find out what's the root cause of what is causing that abdominal or digestive problem, and that I can help them to find out what it is, the root cause of that. And a lot of times we find it and we are able to work together to alleviate that problem from the root cause. Sometimes it's food, sometimes it's lifestyle, or sometimes they need a non-invasive intervention that can solve the problem. And then obviously they will not go on the chronicity, which is that I would like to prevent, to go something that is kind of moderate to go into a more chronic, serious condition.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other common conditions that women that you face?
Well, the hormonal imbalances that women have through our lives, starting from the teenagers when they have cramps, and sometimes those cramps are so severe that they cannot go to school, and they end up with the pill to completely suppress the menstrual period so they can live, right? And that is one of the situations where I can help people without reaching that level of reaching hormones. And obviously women go from then it goes through our lives. We have different types of unbalances. Sometimes we deal with infertility or difficulty getting pregnant, and that's when I can help as well. And a little bit later, when women start having some symptoms about perimenopause, which is pretty common, and unfortunately, it's a very long period of time, then I can get to this as well. And well, later in their life, there are some other unbalances that I will call they are not necessarily hormonal, but metabolic changes. When we started having trouble with our glucose levels, or we have trouble like starting to gain weight and not able to lose it, insomnia, those things that are not really related to hormones, but they are related to some substances and some mediators that our body should produce and we are not producing. So that's it's a long answer, but in a different types of the lives. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd like to go back to the digestive issues. I know well, and learn a little bit more about how you treat people with chronic digestive issues. Can you expand on that, please?
Yes, of course. I have had a few patients who have been struggling with bloating and pain constantly, in particular women at college age, where they are suffering with so many pains, and it's about the time where they have extreme stress in their lives, and there are a number of situations around it, but the doctors cannot pinpoint what it is. And sometimes they say, well, just maybe it's stress, just you need to control stress, and they medicate them, or they try to solve things with or pain medication, or you name it, a number of things that doctors can do, and sometimes they do. I go in a very deep questionnaire, and we talk for at least an hour and a half. That's my typical first interaction with my patients. So I can dig into a number of things, going from diet, lifestyle, and other things that can be bothering the person. And also I do some diagnostics, but I do not use lab tests. If patient has lab tests, I can read them and I can understand what is going on, but I don't rely on lab tests. I rely on the patient's what the patients provides of information, and some examination, of course, if I can see them in person. Yeah, but then I can interact with them, as I said, with finding out what is the problem, and I can help them to address them.
What might be some of the common solutions you find for that?
Well, diet is huge. The dietary recommendations is huge, and also the stress management is amazingly important. Yeah, so I help them to start meditating, or a lot of time I've been doing hypnosis with them, and that's tremendously helpful for women, because there are things that they cannot control, but there are a lot of things they can control. So I empower them to take control of what they can control, and that's it's not that easy, of course, but it takes a lot of time, but they start receiving some benefits. And I add Chinese herbs formulas customized for that particular moment at that particular patient, and we go from there. So I made adjustments to the formulas, which is basically food combined in the right proportion. Is not invasive, and obviously acupuncture is extremely helpful when people can come to my office, for sure. Yeah.
Hypnosis. I think I'm surprised at how many people don't know much about hypnosis. And I have been the beneficiary of hypnosis, and I thought it was quite Remarkable. Can you say more about how that works? How does that help empower someone?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you for asking this. It's so interesting. So let me tell you, through my life, I've been trying to pinpoint what is wrong, what we can correct, and go from diet to interventions like acupuncture or herbs. But there are places where even though we do all the right things, that something is not, it's not working. And that's when I realized that emotions are on the way and basically are kind of the root of many of the problems we are facing. And that's when I can use hypnosis, obviously with the patient's consent, we can together find what is going on and work in that particular issue, and we can work at this unconscious level to resolve it. And it really works really nicely. And sometimes in one session, it's really helpful. So it's kind of another layer of intervention, but very mild. And obviously, hypnosis only can do things that the patient can actually want to do. It's not, it's not like I'm going to install something that patient doesn't want, right? It's something they want to accomplish or they want to overcome, and we work together with that. And it's amazing. Yes. And sometimes it's just like magic. It's incredible.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for asking.
If someone was thinking about moving to alternative methods versus staying with, traditional medicine, what are some of the things we need to consider to do that?
I would say just try and just let's have a conversation. That I offer a free conversation because sometimes people don't understand how we can work together. As something important, people will they need to know that they don't have they will not. I will never ask them to leave their medical treatment ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's to my intention is to add something to what they are already doing, and together we can go and move forward. And a lot of times they can tap it down their doses of medication, or a lot of times they can stop taking them, obviously, in according with their doctors. It's not on my decision or to stop them, but there are many times where patients they were taking painkillers, for instance, for long time, and they don't take them anymore because they don't need it. They start lowering the doses or the frequencies, and at some point they don't need it. So that's one example of possibilities. And there are times, for instance, that if that's okay, if I share one story of one patient who was, she has autoimmune disease and asthma and other conditions together. So she had been in and out from the hospital for the prior 2 years before I saw this woman. And she was in such a bad shape. She received a very powerful medication for her autoimmune condition, but that was, she had a severe reaction to that. So she had to go to the hospital and she almost died, but thankfully she didn't die. But then she got another problems and she was suffering of intense pain in one of her toes. And it was the least of her problems. So the doctors didn't even pay attention to that because their goal was to keep her alive, of course. And so I started seeing her, and she, first of all, she was able to sleep through the night, the first sessions. And then she started lowering the dose of the medication. Her toe healed completely. Honestly, I thought it was going to be, she was going to lose that toe because it was in such a bad shape. Like, I couldn't believe it. But yes, that's an example. With this particular person, I had to work with acupuncture and very, very careful with Chinese herbs at some point because she was taking a number of medications that she could not stop, of course. So I had to work around that. She recovered her health and her life completely. Thank God. And yes, and obviously she keeps being oversight by her doctors, a number of doctors, but she's doing very well. So that's an example. Just give it a chance to see what can I do, and I will tell you if I can help you. If not, I will just say it. That's important, I think.
I have a couple of, may I have just a couple of questions. One is I know it's difficult to generalize, but what is the climate within mainstream medicine for alternative modalities?
Some more and more doctors are open for the patients to try other modalities, particular acupuncture. Although obviously they are not very open to herbal medicine, in particular because they will never recommend something they don't know, right? So that's where it's not so. I would say they will never recommend that, but they are acceptant when the patient opts for adding some alternative medicine. Obviously, they are careful, and they must be careful if they don't know what is in a formula. They will tell I don't know, and I completely get it. But I think it's opening more and more. And the other thing is that pharmaceuticals are moving to study the single molecules in the Chinese herbs or in the plants. So I'm starting to get some more supplements coming from that, which is good in a way, but it becomes a completely different approach to what herbalists do, right? But they are more open. Yes.
You have something called the I Am Vitality Club.
Yes.
What is that?
It's that kind of I'm rebranding what I'm doing, because what I do is not acupuncture itself, it's not Chinese herbology itself, it's not hypnosis itself. It's a whole system of supporting health, right? And also, I don't only offer services in my office, but also virtually. The pandemic showed us so many things and made us to become more creative. So it started when I wanted to keep supporting my people remotely. And it was extremely helpful. That's when I added hypnosis, and I added other technologies and other tools that I didn't use in the past. So now I can do it. And now this I Am Vitality is kind of the merge of those concepts in one. That's the coaching, education, support, and treating patients in person in my clinic.
And where is your clinic?
I have a clinic in Evanston, Illinois, and I have office hours in downtown Chicago as well.
And how do we reach you online, Cristina? Maria?
Yes, well, the website is iamvitality.club. And my name is Maria MC Torres at iamvitality.club.
Okay, good. That's good. Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you would like women to know about alternative treatment?
Well, it's something that I've learned and I keep learning is how how much women have to give and give all the time. So women are givers. But a lot of times we forget about filling our own cup. Really. And for me, it's important that women remember that we need to take care of ourselves. And the better we take care of ourselves, the better we are in our, I would say, in our golden years, because we have still too much to give and to do. So the better care we do for our bodies, the better. And remembering that insurance will pay mostly for medical care and critical care and all those things. But the preventative care, that usually we need to invest in ourselves. So just want people to just keep taking care of themselves and rely on some practitioners in the alternative medicine world. That's right.
Just, I think part of that too is learning how to advocate for ourselves, because in that mainstream medicine, at least most of us were kind of socialized to just do what the authority says, and we know our bodies. We have to learn to listen to them, to what they're telling us, and then to advocate for what we need. Yeah. So I think you appreciate what you're so much appreciate what you're offering.
Yes. Thank you. And also remember that your doctor can only see you for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So I am so grateful for having my doctor, but I know they cannot spend the hour I spend with them, with patients. So it's kind of, that's what I say. It's a complementary care.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Very interesting. Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And you are doing an amazing job. I really appreciate what you do. And thank you for having me.
Very well.
Thank you. And listeners, we'd like to see more of you at our monthly online programs. Make your voice heard as together we change the conversation about women aging. And we also would like to suggest another podcast for you. It's Jennifer Fink's Fading Memories. Now, this is a podcast for caregivers of loved ones with dementia. It provides insights and guidance on communicating effectively, managing stress, and coping with grief and loss. And her contact will be in the show notes. And thank you for listening.